Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back. In this one today, we're going to be ranking the top 10 best COD zombie characters. We will only be doing the Treyarch games because, let's be honest, nobody cares about the crew on World War II zombies. But with all that out of the way with, let's get into our first pick. Starting off the list at our number 10 spot, we have Ultimus Takio. The Ultimus crew is very cool in a lot of ways, but Ultimus Takio I find to be a bit too annoying. About half of his quotes in the game include the words emperor or honor, which goes to show how little this character has in comparison to the rest of Ultimus. The Ultimus crew is known for being super crazy and chaotic. Every time they speak, it's usually in the form of yelling, but Ultimus Takio doesn't really follow under that stigma. He's more serious and down to earth with a lot of his quotes, which isn't a bad thing. It's just in comparison to the rest of the crew, he doesn't quite fit in from that standpoint. Coming into our number 9 spot, we have Arlington. Now, the Mob of the Dead crew in general is really cool, but I do like Al the most because, for one, he has the most influence when it comes to the story on both Mob of the Dead as well as on Blood of the Dead, and two, his quotes are really cool and his character overall is just very iconic. On Revelations in Black Ops 3, you can head over to the jail area and actually pick up and wear his hat, which is a little nice feature. What I like the most about Al is that he's one of the only characters in zombies that's incorporated well into the gameplay. For example, on Blood of the Dead, you have to follow him around the map for a duration of time to do the Easter egg, and on Mob of the Dead, he serves as sort of the ending boss fight for the map, which is really cool. Overall, a great character, but not my favorite. Moving up next on our list, we have Primus Dempsey. This is our first Primus character, and personally, he is my least favorite. The way that I feel about Ultimus Takio is the same way that I feel about Primus Dempsey. While Ultimus Takio didn't fit in well with the Ultimus crew, I feel that Primus Dempsey doesn't fit well with the Primus crew. The Primus crew is very serious for the most part, and when you envision Dempsey from Black Ops 1, he is the complete opposite from serious. I also feel that Primus Dempsey doesn't resonate that well in the story. During Black Ops 3, I didn't feel that connection during the Horizon Drag ending cutscene when he had to kill his other self. Ultimus Dempsey during that time was stuck in a cryo chamber, so we didn't really get to see that personal connection between the two, unlike everyone else in the Primus crew. So for all these reasons, I had to put Primus Dempsey at the number 8 spot. Next up, coming to our number 7 spot, we have Primus Nikolai. Primus Nikolai lost a lot of the things that made Nikolai special during Blood of the Dead. Some of the things that Treyarch did with Nikolai during Black Ops 3, however, I really appreciate. Before we got to Gerard Crovey in Black Ops 3, Nikolai hated Richtofen, and I love that dynamic between these two characters clashing heads with one another constantly. But after viewing what his older self becomes in Gerard Crovey, he decides to change for the better while still keeping that personality that we know and love about him. The reason I can't put him higher on the list is because Treyarch forced him to be the center of the group during Black Ops 4. And for the most part, it didn't resonate that well with players. He started to act like Primus Richtofen by not telling any of the other crew members about his plans or what they're doing, and it doesn't sit well. So for that, I have to put Primus Nikolai at the number 7 spot. Coming up next at our number 6 spot, we have Ultimus Dempsey. Ultimus Dempsey is the only character, in my opinion, that truly embodies the COD Zombies experience. Imagine you're playing Black Ops 1 Kino and you activate the Easter egg song. The only character that I ever want to hear while I'm shooting zombies with my Galil or whatever other gun you're using is Dempsey. He's always shouting badass things at the top of his lungs, and it just fits well with the gameplay. I also like him from a story aspect as well, like when he used the baby gun on Shangri-La and accidentally teleported the whole crew to Classified. I also like his deep connection that he had with Peter McCain, who was another prominent character that kept coming back to every COD Zombies game. My favorite thing about Dempsey, though, is that he's one of the only few characters that breaks the fourth wall and talks to the player, which gives a much better character-to-player interaction. The only reason I didn't put him higher up on the list is because his character in Black Ops 3 didn't really get that much development, but other than that, he's a really solid character character in zombies. Now with our number 5 spot, we have Ultimus Nikolai. I always viewed Ultimus Nikolai as the comic relief from all the chaos that Richtofen is doing. Even during Gorod Krovi, moments before he died, he was so reluctant to change as a person, even though he clearly knew he was in the wrong, which made him more entertaining. What I like the most about Ultimus Nikolai is that it doesn't matter which game you're playing, whether it be Black Ops 1 or Black Ops 4, all of his quotes are hilarious. It works incredibly well for Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4 because those games take a more serious tone, so having a character that can break out of that wall from time to time is just great. The only reason I can't put him higher up is because he doesn't really go through much of a change throughout the entirety of the base Ether storyline, which, like I said before, isn't really a bad thing because his character is already great, but he doesn't have that depth to put him higher up on the list. Coming into our number 4 spot, we have Primus Takio. A lot of people in the zombies community don't like Takio in general, but Primus Takio was a much needed improvement from Ultimus. Ultimus Takio didn't fit too well into the Ultimus crew because he was more of the serious type, and the Ultimus crew was anything but serious. Primus Takio takes the same character dynamic and moves it over into a different group that is more serious, and it makes for some really in-depth character dynamics. During Zetsubo no Shima, we get to see the two versions of Takio talk to one another, and for the most part, it's a normal conversation about two differing ideologies. With Dempsey, we didn't get any conversation between the two on Horizon Drac, and with Nikolai, we got some conversation, but it was mainly from one side. When Primus Nikolai was being very open about the tragedy of his wife, Ultimus Takio just wanted him to stop talking and pretty much die. Ultimus Takio accepted his fate and only wished to help Primus Takio escape the unhealthy need to constantly chase the Emperor's approval. Primus Takio takes what we love about Ultimus Takio and just makes him fit in with the rest of the new crew. And for that, I have to put him at the number 4 spot. Moving into our number 3 spot, we have Ultimus Richtofen. If I were to describe Ultimus Richtofen with one word, it would be chaotic, which for any normal game wouldn't be a good character trait, but for COD Zombies, it's perfect. He's the main character throughout the entire story, from Black Ops 1 to Black Ops 2. The whole time he's just making everything worse by destroying the Earth while also killing and infecting millions of people simply because he strives for power. You hear some of the awful things that this guy has done throughout the story, like what he did to Samantha's dog in the teleporter rooms on Doris, and all sorts of other awful things that only add to his character. The best part is that you get to play as him and experience that drive for power. On Nuketown Zombies on round 25, he becomes the announcer for the map as he takes control of all the zombies, and it makes for a great experience. Next up, coming into our number 2 spot, we have Primus Richtofen. This character is the complete opposite from Ultimus Richtofen in many ways, but still somehow manages to be one of my favorites of all time. Primus Richtofen is the center of the story, from Black Ops 2 Origins to Black Ops 4's Blood of the Dead, and he does a lot during this time period. While Ultimus Richtofen was a madman who wanted nothing but power and world domination, Primus Richtofen was just someone more down to earth who wanted to undo all of his wrongdoings during the Moon events and just make everything right. He still keeps that soulless attitude similar to Ultimus Richtofen, where he doesn't care what happens to people as long as he is able to accomplish his mission and goals. Primus Richtofen was the main character during the best period of time to play Call of Duty Zombies, and for that, it makes him one of the best of all time. Now, before we get into our number 1 spot, I have a few honorable mentions. It's going to be a 4-way tie between Misty, Scarlet, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Jessica Rose. Each of these characters have so much depth and character building that I couldn't decide where I wanted to put them. Misty plays such a huge role in the story and is the only reason I come back to play on the Victus maps. Treyarch made a really smart move by adding Jessica Rose's unskippable intro cutscene to Shadow shadows of evil, my mom would always walk in at the perfect time and be proud of me because of my interest in such well-developed characters. Sarah Michelle Gellar was the second least forgettable character on Call of the Dead, right behind the double barrel shotgun that shoots 3 bullets. And how could I forget about Scarlet? The only complaint that I have with this character is that she has daddy issues, but that's completely fine. These 4 are all phenomenal characters that have great fan service, but they don't even come close to our number 1 spot. And coming into our number 1 spot, we have the greatest character in all of Call of Duty Zombies and probably in all of gaming, and that is Raptor 1. This man has more in-game time than Dr. Monty and the Shadow Man and Dr. Maxis combined. You get to see this man every time you play on a Cold War Zombies map. When you spawn in, he's there, and when you're ready to leave the area or the map or finish the Easter egg, he is always on time to save you. He truly is the only person in Zombies that keeps you safe. If you listen to Primus Nikolai, like how we did in Black Ops 4, you end up just dying, and if you listen to Richtofen, you end up putting yourself into even more trouble. But when you exfil out of the map with Raptor 1, that is truly how Call of Duty Zombies was supposed to end. Raptor 1 is a phenomenal character in Call of Duty and is hands down the greatest character to ever be implemented into COD Zombies. Anyways guys, that's going to wrap up the video for today. If you did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, do all that. Leave your comments down below if you want to see me do any other type of content. Check down the description as well for more zombie related videos. And yeah, I got nothing much else to say, so peace.